Welcome to 4 Oak Street and a very happy Christmas. I just thought I'd give you a bit of an update on the progress so far and how I suppose I've been distracted from what I originally was going to do and have spent a fair bit of time on the station. And in true model railway form, as was said by Charlie at Chadwick yesterday, that building a model railway is often about overcoming problems and finding solutions, and it's in that probably keeps your brain working and your hands coordinated. Anyway, so in this episode I'm going to show you the station. I did a bit of a shortcut and decided I'd go and buy some ready-made buildings, and a couple of the challenges I had and how I've overcome them. So with that, let's have a look at what I've been doing. Now, if you hear any loud bangs, it's because we've got a thunderstorm happening on this Sunday. We've had, I think, 39 degrees, and every now and then when you get this real hot temperature, you can end up with a thunderstorm. So we just had there a nice bolt of lightning. But anyway, so what have I been doing? You'll notice now on this corner that we've actually got some green foliage. So all to pretty much where the join in the baseboard is, which is there, all that was just brown and not much there at all. So I've tried to keep the theme of the foliage on the other side, but I've actually not yet put any of the static grass in, which I'm going to have some long shoots on this sort of section here. But the reason I haven't done it is because my trusty Worldwide Scenics micro applicator, which you would not believe, I've done the whole layout with that. It sort of stopped working, so I actually got hold of another, the bit that makes it stand up, and converted it so it would run on electricity instead of a battery. And unfortunately I somehow must have blown it up again. So I've ordered another one because I still do have some of the static grass to do. So looking at the station, you can see I've got lights in the canopies, and you can see I've got the 3 march buildings with the 3 canopies and 2 extra canopies, one either side. So, and also you'll see that the platform is done. So on this side, and would you believe I had the platform all installed, and then I woke up in the middle of the night sweating, and I suddenly realised I hadn't run the A1 through the station. And lo and behold, the A1 has the most protruding valve gear you've ever seen, and hence I had to unscrew the platform, find the screws, because with this being like I couldn't screw from underneath because there's this is a raised section. So what we ended up with, I ended up having to re-screw it and fill the holes and blah blah blah. So you'll see that whilst the platforms on the left are now in place, and we have some greenery here, the platforms on the right have not actually been fastened down. Sorry, not the platforms, the canopies. So the platforms are all done and have passed the test. So just some different views here. There is a potentiometer in the board I use, which does mean that you can vary the amount of light coming out of these LEDs. Now, when I was growing up in school, I was sure they were either called a rheostat or a variable resistance, but anyway, you can see that you can go quite dim or you can go quite bright. So that's the light. So these are the canopies, and I will go a bit more into detail of challenges with these. So they are all fastened to the station buildings. So that is roughly how it will look. So we have a bridge that I can't find a 4-track bridge that's going to match, so I think I'm going to do a scale scenes bridge, which I can extend, one of those covered bridges with the same brick as what I've got on the wall. Also, I've got some signs here made up, Litchfield. These are P&D Marsh, and they do get sunk quite well in. So I've had these at different colours. I've had them with white bits around and it didn't look quite right. So anyway, this is what I've gone for. So some of them are two-sided. That one's not. That one is two-sided, but they will be sunk sort of around that. And I've been looking online just to see, you know, because at first look you think, well, these must be 00 scale, but they're not. And anyway, there'll be 3 on each side, so there'll be one at this end, one here, and one at the other end. You'll also notice there's a bit of greenery done on the other side of the platform, which is good. We also have P&D benches to go in. I've also got to do the capping on this wall. One of the challenges that I had was that with these, only having one row of legs, they're not going to stand too well because my wall is sort of not right, not high enough. So I was thinking, okay, what do I do? Do I sink them in? But when you actually look at the detail at the bottom, I don't think they're designed to be sunk in. And judging by how they attach to the buildings, they are definitely not designed to sink in. So that would have resulted, if I drilled holes for them to be sunk in, they'd have been a different height to this side. So what I elected to do was, out of foam board, I made this sort of following the roof line, with it being deliberately slightly oversized, and I can add a bit of moss and greenery and all that to it, but that gave it something to actually glue to. And should be pointed out, I've used the old trusty PVA glue. Interesting, when you buy one of these, and I bought 10, and then would you believe it, about 3 weeks later they put them on special. So yeah, I paid more than what they're selling them for now. And they also did a thing where I'd bought one of the buildings, but they did a kit where if you bought all 3 buildings, then they dropped the price again. So I missed out on that. But yeah, these come like a flat pack. So these have to be attached themselves. So what I'm going to do is just show you, I suppose, the challenge with these. So when you get these, they come with these four uprights, which are quite nicely detailed, and they seem to be made of metal, and they fit into a slot. So I'm thinking, do I go with super glue? And then I'm thinking, well, if I get it wrong, or I'm going to be in trouble. So I thought, well, I'll just put a bit of PVA using, you know, one of these, which I use a lot, because you can use the fine tip, or you can unscrew that and use a thicker tip. Particularly good for filling in bits of ballast and whatever. So when I first did it, the legs were all over the place. So what I was able to do was to just put a little bit of warm water and immediately free them off. So then I came up with the idea of making some sort of a jig, and that was harder than it sounded, measuring with a micrometer and all that. So in the end I just did it by eye. Now bear in mind I had 10 to do, and what I found was, if they were slightly out, because these are metal, I could use my very fine pliers, which are these, and I could just straighten this, which would actually make the legs straight. So what I did was, I just used the good old set square and sort of lined it up to see that I could get them fairly square, and sure enough they came out okay. So that's what I did. So the glue certainly held really well, but these are beautifully detailed. But then came, okay, I need to put some lights in, so how am I going to do that? And talk about overcoming challenges. I needed somehow to get the cable, so I wired them in parallel. So what I used was these LEDs here. Hopefully you can see these. These are tiny, tiny. They have BP36. They are a fair bit different to you know, what you would get if you bought a strip, which I know some people have used, or even an LED like this on this 00 gauge sort of spot lamp that I was looking could I use. But you can see the difference in those LEDs is quite huge. So wiring them in parallel, basically you just run two wires and then just join each light to the parallel track of them. And the big issue with these is that these wires that these come with are so fine and really hard to solder, and I'm not that good at it. So anyway, I managed to get the LED in. So what I actually did on the ones that I've done so far, just this little part here, I used a micro drill and I drilled a hole in here, and you could thread these fine wires, and then I just used a bit of super glue, broke the mold there, used super glue, and put the LED on this section here, the V. I was toiling whether to put one in each, but I thought, well, I'm more looking just for the overall effect. So then the wires came out through here, and then wired them up. So then I'm thinking, how am I going to take it over? So I basically wired it on a piece of wood and then carried the piece of wood over, and then one at a time attached them until I got down to the last one. But then I had the issue. My baseboard at the side is this wide. So the platform actually sits like this. So there's 6mm there, and there's the platform. So, and I've got, this is on a raised level. So to get through that, I had to, because I need to get to the bottom level, if you like, not the level the track's laid on. So I needed to come out 30mm. So I will show you what I did. So what I've done, I've ran the 2 wires through a tiny piece of heat shrink, and then I cut out the top layer of the platform, which is 1mm cork, and laid the wires in and drilled the hole through the bottom of this and through the next level, because that's where the electrics will be. And then I've just filled it with putty, so I will give that a quick sand, and then I will paint it, and you'll never know. But I'm quite pleased with yeah, and you'll never know. So I'm quite pleased with that effect, and I think once I've got the other station lamps, it should look quite good with the bridge and the names and the benches. These are the boards that I use. I know this one's in the bag. These are the same ones I think Stephen from Alvin Home. They've got multiple things. You could have about 40 different lights going into them, and you can connect them in various ways, either with a plug or pins or just bare wires. And then you can thread them, and you can join them together, so you just need one input. So also in terms of lighting, I did pick these up. I will get one out the bag so you can have a look. Once again, that very fine wire. So these are about the closest I could get. I did have some of the others, but I quite like these. These will, I think that, I can't remember the sizes, it's 6mm I think maybe. You can, I think they come with nuts, so it depends how far you're going through. But I'm also toiling, do I keep these green, or do I go with the cream maybe of the, or do I go with the burgundy, or do I go with a combination of both? Let me know your thoughts. The other thing that I've invested in is this ratio fencing. So I've bought quite a few packs of these. So this will go right around the perimeter of this platform on this side, and more than likely over the other side there as well. What else was I going to mention? I think that's pretty much it. So once again, I've got the issue with making a decision about the fence colour. This is the ratio kit that it is, GWR spear fencing. Now obviously I realise that, am I LMS or what am I? To be honest with you, I did look to see if there was some LMS fencing, and I thought, no, that'll be fine, and that's what I'm going to use. So that is the station. I had intended to do more on these walls and various other things, but I've got to say, I think the station, just the look of the platforms, now as you'll see, they're fairly dark concrete. I did look at some old pictures, and they were black and whites. But anyway, I think back then they were a bit darker to what they are now. But yeah, I suppose, you know, these particular buildings, I think the detail's great. I think in a lot of cases the 3D printed ones are catching up, and I think it just then comes down to how good you are at painting. So yeah, that's about it. So I'm hoping over Christmas to get the track all cleaned again and get some of these locos running, which it's like while I'm building, I think, oh, I can't wait to run them again. I can't wait to run them again. But then I also know I can't run them till I clean the track. So in some cases I go quite a long time, but I can tell you I really do love it when they're running again. But yes, challenges overcome. More challenges with putting lighting into some of these buildings, and I wish you all a Merry Christmas. So from Four Oaks, all the best, and look forward to seeing you in the new year, where I will have at this end of the layout, in that spot there, just to the left of the bridge girder, there'll be a signal box. So that is on the way to me. Once again, I'm buying one that's made, and they're not cheap, but I think it'll look great. So with that, I'll see you all again soon. Bye.